Hey girl, welcome back to the Girl in Media podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how rest impacts creativity and why creative entrepreneurs or even those employed by a business or an agency to do creative work need to prioritize rest in their weekly rhythms. So if you're ready to learn how rest can actually recharge your creative battery, let's talk about it. Hey girl, welcome to the Girl in Media podcast, where we talk about being a woman in the digital media space. Whether you're an employee, entrepreneur, owner, independent contractor, side hustler, or just looking to learn a little bit more, I want you to come away informed, empowered, and encouraged to do more of what you love. We highlight the stories of women just like you on this podcast, and we hope that it helps you grow in your career and your dreams. Now, let's get into it. Now you can see by the scene, if you're watching on YouTube, that we are still out of the studio, but not out of reach. I'm so glad that I get to bring these episodes to you from anywhere. And today, while I am in the Rocky Mountains, it only seemed fitting to talk about rest. If you work in digital media, which you probably do since you're listening to this episode, you know that we live in a fast-paced world with high demands and quick turnaround just expected of us on a regular basis. For the most part, as much as we try to plan ahead, creative projects tend to be very last minute. Even if you've been planning for months, there are always going to be things that just fall by the wayside until they're needed the next day. So how do you create rest when you're working in an environment with expectations like that? Well, we talked in the last episode about timelines for projects when you run your own business, but you can do this whether you are an entrepreneur or an employee. A great way to do this is take control of the bookends of your day. So let's say you have to show up for work around 9 o'clock in the morning. That means that you are waking up early enough that you have some kind of morning routine that nourishes your body and your soul. Maybe meditation, reading, some activity, making sure you eat, make a cup of coffee, whatever that looks like for you. Building in even 20 minutes for this is game-changing for the way you approach the rest of your day. I personally take time to do my hair. I didn't today, so just so you know. But I know that if I want to do my hair and feel great about my appearance, it takes me about 30 minutes to get ready in the morning. I like to have some coffee before I go to work. I make French press, so that's another 10 minutes. And I have been doing a lot of protein smoothies with fruit right now. That's another 10 minutes of prep. So I'm looking at almost an hour before I'm walking out the door to get ready. If I want to read or pray before that time, then I'm looking at an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes. That means if I have to be where I need to be at 9 o'clock, I'm probably walking out the door by 8:30. At a minimum, I have to be up by 7:30, but now I know and I can create my morning routine around that. That also means that I can't stay up all night working. Now, are there exceptions? Of course there are. Sometimes we just have things we have to do, or we're in the middle of a creative flow and we work until 3 in the morning and don't realize it. But on a regular day, I'm trying to shut down work by 10 o'clock at night, which may sound crazy, but again, I just have a very high demand job. So I'm making sure that I'm getting everything done that I need to, shutting it down by 10 o'clock so I can start winding down. Thankfully, I work remotely or from an office that's near where I live most of the time. If I'm working far away from where I need to go to relax, I may shut it down earlier, around 9 o'clock, 9:30. And then I start preparing myself for bed. There's an app on my phone. It's just a game, but I play it to help my brain focus on just one thing instead of 500. I like to have some self-care time in the evening, and I like to make sure that I'm in bed by 11:30. That makes me feel more rested when I'm getting up at 7:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. If you have other people relying on you, like kids or family members, your schedule's probably going to look different. Right now, I'm single, and I don't have to worry about anyone else in the morning or in the evening, and I take advantage of that. Another way that you can do this is managing notifications on your phone. If I feel like I'm on call 24/7, my brain is always going to be working on a problem, whether or not I'm supposed to work. This also means that I'm going to get stuck in the same route of the way that I solve problems every single time it comes up. And that really stifles creativity. When you are overworked or overwhelmed, you're not taking time to find new and innovative ways to do things. You're not finding a new approach. You're not investing in personal development. You're not growing your creativity. You're just doing the same thing you've always done over and over. That might be okay in some situations, but on a personal level, as a creative, it's really important that we continue to invest in ourselves. Our creative gifts are valuable, and they only become more valuable as you grow. Even if it's not valuable to your current employer or current client, you never know what might be next. And it's great to be able to have that under your belt. So managing notifications for me looks like having do not disturb settings. There are some apps that I never see push notifications for. I only see it when I'm checking for it. And I don't answer calls or text messages after that wind down time at night. Again, usually it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. That is plenty of time for a regular person who is paying me money to get in touch with me. There are a few people, like my significant other, my best friend, my parents, whose notifications I get all the time. But other than that, you're not hearing from me unless I'm online and ready to work. This helps protects my mental energy, my brain space, and gives me time to do things that I love and enjoy apart from work, which is really important, right? I think about it this way. Records are coming back into style, but when I was a kid, they were actually something that we used. And if you ran the same song over and over again, it would scratch the disc. So when it scratched the disc, the needle would always slide into that same groove and play the same song, and then the song would start to skip, and the disc just wouldn't play correctly. I think our brains are kind of like that. If we do the same thing over and over and over again without rest, it's going to create pathways that aren't necessarily productive or the best for us, but we're used to doing it and we just naturally fall into it. So the next thing that we should think about is creating new rhythms of rest. They say it takes about 30 days to change a rhythm. I know I have natural internal rhythms of being a night owl, but my work schedule just doesn't really allow for that. So I have to work a little bit harder to cultivate a habit that will serve my health and well-being in addition to my work and still be sustainable, right? So I have alarms that I set to create rhythms. I have reminders that show up to create rhythms, and they help keep me on track for the pattern that I've established is going to be best and healthiest for me, even if it's not perfectly natural to how I'm wired or how my body works. Do I hope to change that in the future? Yes. Is it helping me survive a very hectic and busy season full of high demand? Yes. So there's value in that. And then when you can, you may change your rhythm again. But learning how to establish habits of rest, habits of work, and habits of communication can really help protect your brain so that you have time to rest and recharge, to learn new creative things, to learn new techniques, and continue becoming the best version of yourself without feeling totally burnt out. And that's another thing that is a good indicator that you aren't building rhythms of rest into your life. If you feel like you need a vacation to be refreshed, but as soon as you come back, you're tired, exhausted, stressed, and overworked again, it's a great indicator that you need a different rhythm in your day-to-day, weekly, monthly schedule. This will allow you to not only avoid becoming burnt out, but to become a better version of yourself while you're establishing those habits. So as you think, oh man, I don't have time to build rest, and that sounds ideal, but Ellie, I know you're self-employed, or you don't understand my employer. I do. I've been employed by very demanding people who would message me at any time of night without any regard for my schedule and expect an answer. But when you establish those boundaries and rhythms, everyone knows what to expect. The expectation is Ellie works from 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, and that's plenty. Okay, it's plenty. Do I work more hours than that? Sometimes. Do I talk to people or let them know that I'm working those hours? Absolutely not, because again, I'm self-employed. If you're employed on salary, you still need to establish time boundaries to protect your health and mental energy. And if you're hourly, you shouldn't even be thinking about working a 12-hour day just because of the demand. That's not only illegal, but it also doesn't serve you or people who are coming up behind you well. It sets an expectation for overwork without compensation. And that's not something that we do here in the United States. It's probably not something that we do in many countries, right? So just don't do it. I hope these tips have been helpful for you. I know that they're, again, just simple, basic things that we should be thinking about, but do we actually do them? And I want to challenge you to do just one of these things For the next 30 days, establish one rhythm of rest that will help you recharge your creative battery and be a healthier, happier version of yourself. Can you do it? I hope you do. And drop it in the comments, email me, let me know that you're doing it, how it's going. I'd love to hear. And then we'll meet you right back here on the Girl in Media podcast next time for more industry insights, advice, tips, and interviews with other women working in digital media. I'll see you soon. If you offer services that would benefit women working in any field of digital media, we would love for you to sponsor the show. You can contact us to learn more about sponsorship packages and how you can reach our audience of talented women in tech when you email girlinmediaofficial@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you soon.